What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, today is the day that we will finally be discussing my final impressions of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Now, I was debating if I should make this commentary earlier, but I decided to wait for as long as I could just to give this game every last chance to sink in so I can form a legitimate final opinion. Today, I'm not here to bash this game, nor am I here to scream to the heavens about how amazing it is. I simply want to cover both sides of the story and keep myself at a fair middle ground without being completely biased. I know some of you out there hate this game with all of your hearts, but to be honest, is it a completely bad game? Yes and no, but that is only because not everyone shares the same opinion. One of my most hated Call of Duty games was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, and that was the most sold Call of Duty game ever made. So everything that is said here and also in the comments section is strictly opinion based. So please, if you can show some respect to each other, we can have some really good discussions here on the pros and the cons of this game, and if it was truly worth the $60, or even if it was worth a discounted price. Now, I do want to say that I am mostly a multiplayer guy when it comes to Call of Duty. Campaign, zombies, and Spec Ops are great and all, but what I always come back for when it comes to a COD title is the competitive multiplayer scene. But I will say, the campaign was pretty darn good. It didn't really impress me as much as Modern Warfare 2019's campaign, which, funny enough, is one of my favorite campaigns ever made in the whole franchise. But of course, the multiplayer is my most hated, right? But the Cold War campaign was still good enough to keep me interested. They could have innovated a lot more on the option system in this game, though, because it felt like a more bare-bone version of Black Ops 2. I just hope one day they'll just go all out with so many different endings to mess around with the actual tension of the game. But moving over to the zombie side of this whole game, I never really was super hardcore when it came to this topic, but I still had a decent time with what I played. Actually, when Cold War first dropped, I hated it so much that I actually made zombies for about a few weeks until the content drop finally came along, which we will talk about later. But zombies was definitely a cool experience. I was a bit disappointed the round-based maps were neglected for Outbreak, but that's okay. I think Outbreak is a fantastic new and unique idea in the Call of Duty Zombies formula, and a very welcome one as well. But even with that being said, that does not mean completely throw away what brought your core fans into the Zombies experience in the first place. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Treyarch is actually going to be working on zombies in Call of Duty Vanguard, so I guess we'll see in the very near future if they're going to be sticking to the Outbreak formula or if they're going to make a return to traditional round-based maps. But with that out of the way, let's discuss what everyone has been waiting for, the multiplayer side of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Now, there is a reason that I am showing you guys Black Ops 1 gameplay instead of Cold War gameplay. And that is because this is what Treyarch looks like when they are at their best. Innovation, variety, a strong community. This game had it all and still does till this day. Now we must remember, Black Ops Cold War was initially a Sledgehammer Games project, and midway through the development cycle, Activision gave them the boot, and I'm assuming forced Treyarch to hop on and pick up Sledgehammer's slack. So, with that being said, we have to understand the situation Treyarch was put in. They had half the time they usually have to create a Call of Duty game, and they also had to work on a foundation that was developed by a completely different studio that has a completely different art style, mechanic styles, and completely different vibes as well. This was not an easy job at all to accomplish, and I must say, for the time they had, they didn't put out a completely awful game. It was definitely way more playable than Modern Warfare 2019 for me personally, just because it felt more like a traditional Call of Duty game. No matter what, Treyarch will always have that signature flow that travels across all of their titles in this franchise. Fast-paced, snappy, colorful, and more focused on arcadey fun than a realistic experience, which I personally love. That's the best part about being a Call of Duty fan. Every development team that works on Call of Duty has their own style. All the old school Modern Warfare games made by Infinity Ward were all tactical, they're all slower paced, they're all way more realistic, and also had much more attention to detail compared to games that Treyarch made, for example like BO1, all the way up to current day, which all have brighter colors, faster paced gameplay, and an emphasis on pure arcadey fun. And this is also why COD can release yearly, because each studio puts out a different version of Call of Duty. But despite it having better maps and mechanics, Cold War has still failed in so many different areas. Now in Vanguard, they already went ahead and fixed this. There'll be about, I would say, 20 maps at launch, with much more content coming shortly after. but that does not excuse it from happening in Cold War. I believe this game launched with about 8 maps, just around the same number as Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, which is ridiculously low. And also, we played over half of them in the beta. Also, really quickly, talking about the beta, they fixed virtually nothing for the release of this game. The game launched so poorly that for months it felt like just an extended beta because of all the lack of content and horrifying bugs and glitches, including the horrible console breaking glitch that was never resolved from Modern Warfare 2019. But the lack of content and horrible performance, which I gotta say was stupidly bad. If you look back at some of my past videos, you'll see that pretty much I couldn't even load in maps without the textures in the sky not even being able to load in, along with the rest of the map spazzing out as well. It was so bad that I constantly got comments every day saying it hurt to watch the footage and it was hurting people's eyes. So I had to record different gameplay just so I can go ahead and talk about Black Ops Cold War. It was so freaking bad. But as I was saying, the lack of content and horrible bugs isn't what completely turned me off from this game, but it was the lack of creativity. This game might have been more playable than Modern Warfare 2019 for me, but it had next to no innovation. The only thing they added onto the Call of Duty formula was score streaks not resetting on death, which was a perk in Call of Duty World War II, so it wasn't even new. Now, it makes sense to why there's no creativity, because the developers, Treyarch, like I said earlier, had to come and work on this project halfway through its life cycle. But you're telling me that Sledgehammer Games, during their fair share of working on this game, didn't come up with anything? And a studio as loved as Treyarch couldn't come up with anything either? After half the game was already developed for them? Again, I'm using Black Ops 1 for an example. Look at this game. The game that came before this title was Modern Warfare 2. Black Ops 1 saw what they did and shot it to the moon. Extended the amount of streaks in the game, plenty of content to go around, all kinds of innovation, such as the COD point system, which is the in-game currency to get skins, attachments, etc. And also you're allowed to wager these coins in a fun party game mode, which added in such fun side modes to enjoy in this title, so not everything was so competitive 24/7. Regardless if you needed the COD points for attachments or you were completely decked out and had a ton of points left over, it was literally always a blast going into party game modes and betting on your success and seeing if you could take it all away. Also, when it comes to zombies, they went above and beyond, basically crafting the way to what zombies is today. Now, I know World at War is where it all began, but the story, the Easter eggs, and creative map design all began with Black Ops 1, which paved the way to the future. Black Ops 1 added and changed so many things to the Call of Duty formula. But what did Cold War do? Oh yeah, I can get a guaranteed streak every game that I play, and that's about it. The lack of creativity is what got the game for me. It was fun. It was, interesting. I could feel the Treyarch vibes, and I could feel that it could have been potentially a really good game, and especially after a full year of finally getting content into the title after, like I said earlier, being neglected for the whole year with no content, after we finally got all the weapons, all the maps, a ton of bugs and glitches were polished off, and the game felt playable. It's actually pretty cool and decent. But why does it take a full year to get to this point? And I'm not talking about the point of polishing off the game to take the bugs away. I'm talking about the point of having enough content so your audience doesn't get bored after the first week of playtime. After a week or two, more than half of the community has played all the maps, especially since, like I said earlier, we played the majority in the beta. The community also played the hell out the one and only zombie map in the game, which we had to wait multiple content drops just to see one more zombies map added into the whole mix. The community also found the one and only gun they also needed to use to be good, and that's about it. Even people who camo grinded finished extra early and then were left with nothing else interesting to sink their teeth into. But that is mainly why I don't enjoy Cold War. It's playable enough that I'll revisit it every once in a while to maybe play some of the remastered maps with better graphics, but that's about it. You see, Modern Warfare 2019 might have not been my favorite game, but it's new and unique enough that the audience it did obtain loved the hell out of it and continuously play it till this day. For example, just look up some of the Call of Duty live gameplay channels. Tell me how many of them are playing Cold War. Next to none. Almost all of them have pretty much jumped ship to come back to Modern Warfare 2019 or Warzone. The game has a hardcore audience because it wasn't completely bland. Regardless if you enjoy it or not, It had some type of style and passion behind it. Even after getting all the maps and weapons in Cold War, all the content drops, I mean the full year of content that we just obtained in Cold War, I still can't help but feel bored after a couple of matches, and I truly don't know if that can ever change at this point. So the final question, was Cold War worth buying? Yes and no. If you can find this game on sale for, I would say like 20, 30 bucks, maybe even 40 bucks if you're that bored with your time, I'd say give it a try. At this point, it's a complete game full of all kinds of content to go for. And also the weapons from previous battle passes have challenges to complete to obtain them. So if you didn't have time to attend the battle passes during their prime, you still have an extra shot to go ahead and get them anyways. It'll definitely keep you interested. And like I said, if you can get it for super duper cheap, at least you'll have a game that is bug free. Because even though I thought the gunplay was pretty decent in Vanguard, I just know the game will be a mess at launch. So overall, if you're coming into this title like a year later and you're not really expecting much out of it, then yeah, go ahead and give it a shot. It has literally next to no innovation. It's as bare bone as a Call of Duty game can get. It's pretty much Modern Warfare made on a different engine by Treyarch, a little bit more fast-paced with different map designs, but like pretty much copied and pasted all the mechanics and stuff like the gunsmith and all the other features from Modern Warfare. And the only innovation was the score streaks. Wow. But I do want to say, for my personal experience, not for your guys' experience coming in late, for my experience owning the game since day one, it has been a disaster. I'd say it almost took about half a year just to get enough content to consider this game worth my 60 bucks. And even then, there were still horrible game-breaking bugs and glitches that haunted this game for months on end. This was definitely one of those Call of Duty games where they say, wait a full year, and then get the game when the next one releases, because this title definitely needed that extra time. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into this video. Like I said, I wanted to try to be fair, cover both sides of the story with this game. It was a disaster for me, but I mean, I can't lie. If you can get this game for super cheap and you're just trying to find something to, waste time on, it has a campaign, it has a zombies experience with both Outbreak of open world zombies and also, about like, 3-4 round-based zombies maps as well. You didn't have to wait with all of us to get these maps, but at least now you can come in with all the content right there in front of you and all the brand new weapons that you can grind for. So there'll be a bunch of base guns to use right when you purchase the game, and then obviously you can grind for more weapons to play with. So you'll have a grind factor to the game, and also on top of that, you have the camo grind. There's just a bunch of stuff that you can do a year later in this title. So yeah, even though I don't really care for it and I think it's boring as hell and there's nothing innovative about it and it's, nothing new to the Call of Duty formula, like I said, 20, 30 bucks, why not? Get yourself some gameplay. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like button. If you hated it, leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new and you enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. Also, want to chat with me, there's two ways to do so. I have a Twitter and a Discord, both those links are down in the description. And also, want to catch me live stream some video games I do over on Twitch. Link that's in the description as well. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.